Hello everyone, warm welcome to this wonderful session. Today we are going to start Unit 2, 11th Biology. This is Structural Organization in Animals and Plants. Chapter number 5, here we have to discuss Morphology of a Flowering Plant. This chapter to be started today. Now this is part, that is first chapter, Morphology of Flowering Plant. Now we have to see Chapter number 5. In this we have to discuss Morphology of Flowering Plants, Part 1. Before we start Part 1 of this Morphology of Flowering Plants, in NCERT book, in the beginning of each chapter, that is eminent worker biography is being given. For this chapter, she is 𝕆𝕋𝔼𝔼, that who did wonderful job in this field. She was born in Ukraine in 1898. She studied agriculture in Russia and in Germany and received her doctorate in 1931 in USA. Her two books are very famous, which have enormous impact worldwide, and these books are, that is Anatomy, that is Plant Anatomy, written in 1954, and Anatomy of Seed Plants, that is written in 1960. She died in 1997, and in lifetime that she absolutely dominated in the field of plant biology even at the age of 99. So she is the eminent worker, that is 𝕆𝕋𝔼𝔼. Right? Come to the next now. In morphology we have to study, that is root, external features of root, stem, leaves, fruits, and that is flowers and seeds. We know that angiosperm, they have lot of diversity in external structure, but even then all angiosperm, they have the basic plan in their external structure, that they are characterized by, that is, this is root system, this one is the stem. Here stem usually is aerial, root is usually inside the ground, underground this is, and the stem, it consists of leaf. It consists of, that is, buds are also there, buds are there. The stem is the central axis, which is having differentiation or that is distinction of nodes and internodes are there. That is, at the time of reproduction, the plant bears flowers. The flowers will be converted into fruits, and inside the fruit there will be seed. Therefore, children, here in morphology what we have to study, this is a typical angiospermic plant. This one is, that is typical, that is mustard plant, and in this mustard plant we have to study the, that is external structure of external morphology or morphology of the, that is different plant parts. These are the root, the stem, the leaves, the flowers, the fruits, and then seed. We have to see one by one now. That is, first we have to see morphology of roots. You are familiar, root, if you see root, that usually in most of the case root is, that is a cylindrical structure and usually found inside the soil. This is cylindrical, this is underground, and this is non-green as this is away from light, that is non-green part of the plant. This is descending portion of the plant axis. If this is the central axis of the plant, this is descending one, and the stem is, that is ascending portion of the plant. It grows towards the soil, downward into the soil. And it develops from radicle of the embryo. When the seed will germinate, that the embryo will consist of, that is radicle, and that one is called as, that is a 𝕆𝕆𝕍. The root develops from, that is radicle of embryo. So here, that is root consists of primary root system, primary roots and secondary root system, and all this together that will make, that is the root system, and what we have in shoot system now, usually this is the ascending part, and it consists of, that is stem, consists of leaf, consists of flower, consists of fruit. On stem we have the nodes and internodes, which may be prominent, may not be prominent, and then we have the bud present in the axis of the leaf, that is known as axillary bud, and axillary bud develops into branch. There is a bud at the apex also, which is known as terminal bud. Right? Come to the next now, that is, so the same thing we have here, that is root is the whitish or brown in color. they do not have nodes and internodes. We are talking about, that is leaves or buds. They are negatively phototropic, they move away from light, and these are positively geotropic, that is they move towards the gravity, and positively hydrotropic means that they move towards, that is water. That is, plant have well developed root system. The main root and its later branch, they make the root system, as I told you in that diagram also. Now we have to see what we mean by taproot. That is, these roots are usually found in dicots. That is, primary root develops from radicle. I may summarize it here. That this is the seed and this one is, that is the radicle one. In case of dicot plant, what happens? In case of dicot plant, yes, that is this radicle that will elongate and that will become the primary root. This is the primary root. From this primary root, the secondary root will come out as in the form of branches, and from secondary root, the tertiary root will come out. And all this together, they will make the taproot system. So here, the primary root branches further forming secondary and tertiary roots, and the primary root and its branch all together, they make, that is taproot system. And the taproot system, you know, this is found in case of dicots. Come to the next now, that is fibrous root system. This is an example of, that is taproot system. You can see so many plants, and usually taproot system is found in case of, that is dicot plant. What is fibrous root system? This is an example of fibrous root system. What is here? That is, the seed will germinate, the radicle will come out, but this radicle is short-lived. That is, this is short-lived, but that is the plumule that will develop into the stem. From lower portion of the stem, so many, that is delicate fiber-like structure will come out, and that is known as fibrous root. This fibrous root is characteristics of, that is monocot plant, right? So we can see here fibrous root system. In monocot, the primary root is short-lived. Important point, this one is replaced by large number of roots, and these roots originates from the base of the stem, and they constitute the fibrous root system, as is found in case of most, that is monocot plant. For example, this is wheat plant, or that may be any type of, that is grasses. Come to the next now, that is third type of root, adventitious root system. You must have seen in case of, that is sugarcane, or in case of maize, from, that is lower node, some of the, that is root comes out like this. Or in the case of, that is banyan tree, you have seen, this is a big sized banyan tree, and from aerial branches, the root comes out, which will go, that is towards the soil. These are pillars like root. Such roots are known as adventitious root. Specialized root, these are known as adventitious root. That these root develops from any part of the plant, but never from radicle. Important one is, they may develop from, that is branches, they may develop from stem, they may develop from leaves, they may develop from buds, like this. So these type of roots are known as adventitious root, as in case of grass, as in case of monstera, and in case of, that is banyan tree, right? Come to the next, main functions of the root. You see, what are the main functions? You know, that is water and mineral absorption. You know, even a layman knows that this is the plant, this is the stem, this is the aerial part of the plant, and here this is the root. The root, it is having, that is branches, root system, and it is having the root hairs also. And these root hairs, that is from soil, they will absorb the water and minerals. These are the soil particles. The water and, that is minerals present in soil will be absorbed by root. The main function of the root is absorption of water and minerals, you know. It provides, that is fixation, that is encourages the plants, you know, that the roots are there, which will fix the plant in soil. Storing reserve food, yes, the food which is being synthesized here in leaves, that will be transported to leaves, that is root, and it may be stored here. So, and very important point is synthesis of plant growth regulator, that is at the apex of root, that is plant growth regulators are synthesized, which have different role. You have to study in time to come. Is it? Come to the next now, that is regions of root. This is a typical root. We have to see regions of root. One is, that is root cap. This is one region. Root cap is there. This is the second one, that is meristematic activity is there, second reason. The third one is that is elongation reason, and the fourth one is that is maturation reason. So starting from here, that is the root cap, followed by that is meristematic activity, or we may call it that is root apex, this one is, and root apex, that is it is followed by region of elongation and regions of maturation. Come to this now, the one by one we have to say. Root cap, it is the root cap, it covers the apex. This is because that the root has to grow in soil particles, and soil particles, they have the rough edges. So that's to protect the delicate root apex, that is this thimble-like structure is found as the form of protection, which is called as root cap. It protects the tender apex of the root, and it makes its way through the soil, because the soil particles, they are rough, so this is having protective in function. Some important points are here. Root cap, generally this is single, one is there, but multiple root caps are also found, as in case of screw pine or in case of pandanus. Mostly this is single, but as an exception, that is multiple root caps are also found. Now, again important point related to that is root cap, because the plants which are found in water, that is the root can grow easily. That is, there is no problem of protection. That's why in hydrophytes, the plants found in water, that root caps are absent, because this is not at all required, and it is being replaced in some plant by root pockets. And the root pockets, that is the aquatic plant, and here the roots, they have the root pocket like structure here, and root pocket they help in that is floating of the plant. Example, that is Pistia and Eichhornia. Come to the second reason now, that is reasons of meristematic activity. This was the root cap here, that is just behind this root cap there is the root apex. This is the cell, this is the region where the cells are meristematic. These are having capacity of division, and because of this, that the length of the root will increase. This layer is few millimeter above the root cap. The cells of this region are small and thin, meristematic these are, because they have to divide. They divide by that is mitosis division, as a result of which length of the root will, that is new cells will be added. Come to the third one, regions of elongation. Proximal to this root apex, this was the first region, that was the second one. Proximal to this root apex, that is meristematic region, that the cell, that is they make the zone of elongation. Here the cells, they have rapid elongation, that is elongation, and because of this rapid elongation, growth of the root, that is length of the root increases. It is being followed by regions of maturation, that is proximal to this regions of elongation. This is the region known as maturation region. This is also known as where the root will differentiate. Regions lies proximal to the elongation region. This is elongation region, and this is maturation region. From this region, some of the epidermal cell, they have, that is they will get elongated like this, and they have, that is root hairs, and we know the functions of the root hair, that is they will increase the surface area for absorption of water and minerals. These root hairs, these are delicate thread-like expansion of the epidermal cell and are known as root hair, right? The root hair, they absorbs water and minerals from the soil, and in hydrophytes, root hair are absent, because the water and minerals will be absorbed by general body surface. Is it? You can go a little back. This is root cap region. This is root apex meristematic zone. This is elongation zone, and this is the where differentiation takes place, and it is having the root hair, and in that way this is the last regions of maturation, or that is zone of differentiation. Okay, come to the next now, that is modification of taproot. Modification of taproot, you see, that is, root is having some general functions. Beside the general functions, sometimes root has to perform some specific function, and in that way it has to get modified. The one is, that is, we have to see, that is modification of the taproot, that is storage of a food, One is that they store the food and they assume various shapes. Because of this storage of the food, they have become, that is, fleshy. Some of the typical examples are, one is conical. This is cone shaped, as you are seeing in case of carrot. This is cone shaped one, and here this is known as conical one. In case of fusiform, these are spindle shaped, as is found in case of, that is, radish, Raphanus sativa. And the third one is, that is, napiform. Here the roots are, these are spherical one. Abruptly this is spherical, that is become tapered, that is as in case of turnip. So these are modification of taperoot. Taperoot modified as because it had stored the food. The second one is respiratory roots known as pneumatophores. You know, the plant which grows in marshy or swampy areas where we have, that is, deficiency of oxygen is there. So some branches of the taperoot, they grow vertically upward in the air. That is the plant. This is the taperoot. These are the branches of the taperoot. Some of the branches, they will become, that is, they will become aerial. They will grow in air, and these roots are called pneumatophore. At the tip of this pneumatophore, that they have fine opening spores are there, known as pneumatophores, by which, that is, exchange of the gases take place, and the plant will get air and oxygen for respiration. Pneumatophores, these are, that is, negatively geotropic one, because they are going towards the light, away from the gravity. Example is, that is, Rhizophora, Avicennia and Soneraceae. You are seeing that these are the, that is, taperoot, and these are the branches which have become, that is, aerial one, and they have these openings, pneumatophores these are. Come to the next now. Modification of, that is, adventitious root we have to see now. Adventitious root, they may also got modified. The purpose is, that is, they have stored the food. You know the meaning of adventitious root? That is, they will arise from any part of the plant except radicle. They never arise from, that is, radicle. They may arise from any part of the plant. So if the purpose, that is, storage of food, then they will get modified. Storage adventitious root. One is, that is, tuberous. You are seeing the example of this. That is, these are the stem. These are the nodes of the stem here. That is from the node. That is, this is the stem here, and this is the node here. This is the leaf. From the node, that the root will come out. They will store the food, and in due course of time, they will become, that is, tuberous, as is being seen in case of sweet potato, that is, 𝕆𝕆𝕋𝕍𝕀𝔻𝔼𝕆. Single root arise from node, that will go underground, and it will store the food, will become tuberous one. The second one is fasciculated one. What is there in fasciculated one? You see, this is the stem here, and at the base of the stem, that is, so many fibers like root will come out in the beginning, and they will store the food, and after storage of food, that a bunch of such root will become like this bunch, because they will become irregular in shape. This is the bunch or cluster arise from the lower part of the stem. They will become fleshy because they have stored the food. Example is, as in case of 𝕆𝕋𝔼𝕆 and asparagus. You know, 𝕆𝕉𝔼 and asparagus, these are botanical names. Therefore, we have to underline when we are writing, and when these are being printed, these should be italic one. We are seeing that this is the, yes, this one is common. This one is, that is, sweet potato, and these are, that is, this is the lower portion, and these are the roots. That is as in case of 𝕆𝕉𝔼, or as in case of, that is, asparagus. Right? Come to the next now. Adventitious root, the second purpose, it may be, that is, to provide support, extra support. No, root will provide, taperoot will provide support, no problem. That is, this is the taperoot, this is the stem, and this is the taperoot, or that is fibrous root. The purpose is to provide extra support. Two types of modifications are there, which are very popular and very important for examination point of view. These are, one is prop root, one is, that is, street root. What is there in prop root? You all must have seen in nature. That is in case of banyan tree, old banyan tree. This is the old banyan tree. I can just simplify the diagram. This is the main stem, and that is, this These are the, that is, branches of this banyan tree. Banyan tree, that can survive even for 200 years. This is the old banyan tree, and from this branch of old banyan tree, the root will come down, which hang in air, and ultimately they will come, touch the soil, and will become pillar-like. This is the main stem, and these are the pillar-like roots, and they will give extra support to these heavy branches of the banyan tree. Sometimes what happens, that is the main trunk that is being deteriorated, and it is rather difficult to find out where is the, that is, main trunk is there, and the whole, that is, heavy branches, they are being supported by this pillar-like root, right? That is, these are stilt roots. In case of maize, sugarcane, and screw pine, you can see the example here, that this is an example of either that may be example of, that is, maize, or that may be example of, that is, of sugarcane. You can write any example. What is there in these? You see here that this is the maize plant. Usually these plants, that is, when they will become little bit oblique, these are monocot one, and these are the fibrous root. These are the nodes. In case of monocots, the nodes are prominent. So just to give extra support from this lower node, that these roots will come out, and these roots will, sometimes they will touch the soil also, definitely, and these roots will give extra support. That is, these are known as stilt roots, arise from the lower node of the stem, enter the soil obliquely, and example is sugarcane, maize, and that is screw pine. Is it right? Now you see, if you go a little back, then we can summarize. That is, you see, that is a summary of this again. See, that is, yes, I told you that this is unit. In this unit 2, this is chapter 5, Morphology of a Flowering Plant, and this is part 1. That is, for this chapter, Morphology of Flowering Plant, that is, the eminent figure is 𝕆𝕋𝔼𝔼, and she died at the age of 99, and she dominated this plant biology field, especially plant morphology, and her two important books are Plant Anatomy and The Anatomy of the Seed Plant. You can see the picture of this renowned lady. Then in morphology, this is a typical angiospermic plant. In morphology, we have to study root, stem, that is leaves, flower, fruits, and even the buds and even the seeds we have to study, right? The morphology deals, study form and features of different plant parts, as I told you, these are. And what's the necessity to study this? That is, it gives an impression, it gives a detail that how the plant is able to adapt to their environment, adaptation. The root found in water are different definitely from the roots found in case of deserts. The root, this is underground part, I told you. This is cylindrical, underground, non-green part, descending one this is, and that is, it develops from radicle usually. Radicle, that is part of the embryo. Come to the next, that is white brown. That is one important question came. Suppose you have been given, that is two portions like, that is one is of stem, one is of root, how to identify? Definitely the stem is having what? Nodes and internodes are there, while in case of root, we do not have nodes and internodes. The branches are there, may be there in case of stem. In case of root also the branches may be there. But you see, in case of root, the branches are coming from inside. These are endogenous branches. Remember, endogenous these are, while the branches in case of stem, these are exogenous. We can identify easily, that is the root and stem. So here, you can see here, taproot, in which develops from, that is radicle, I told you right now. These are the example of, that is dicot, monocot, adventitious root. Fibrous root is found in monocot. Dicot is having, that is taproot system. Adventitious, they arise from any part of the plants, but never from, that is radicle, important part. They never arise from radicle one. Main functions I told you right now, this is an important point, that is hormones, that is regions of the root, common, this is root cap, that is apex, meristematic zone, elongation zone, and the root hair zone or regions of maturation. Is it? I told you that. Come to the next, modification. You are familiar with this. Just to store the food, besides doing normal function, the root has to perform some other functions, that is storage of food, and they have become fleshy. The three examples are. Then come to the next, respiration. The pneumatophores are there. That the soil, marshy area where we have deficiency of oxygen, that is these roots are found. Modification of adventitious root, tuberous root, and case of fasciculated root I told you right now. And the last one here is, that is to provide extra support, prop root are found in case of banyan tree, and roots are found in case of sugarcane, maize, and 𝕍𝕀𝔻𝔼ℎ. This is all for part first.